it's quite sad, and I think that this sort of violence could have been avoided had the government acted sooner. Of course, there is no justification for the violence at all. But the fact is that the subcontinent is a place where the rule of law is weak, and it is incumbent on the government to be able to make sure that such things do not happen, whether it's the government in the center or whether it's the government in Rajasthan. The problem with the blasphemy thing is that it gets um, pushed from the bottom. So between 1926 and 1986, there were only 7 cases of blasphemy that were registered in independent India and in India and Pakistan. So, but then what happened in 86 is that Zia made the punishment life and then death for blasphemy. And after that, what happened is that more than 1,000 cases were filed against the minorities, particularly Ahmadis, over property disputes, over just pure hatred. So just like we've seen in the instance of the beef lynchings. So there was beef lynching as a category of violence. To you and I, this was not known as a particularly common category of violence till 2015, when two BJP states passed laws against which criminalized the possession of beef, and then the violence began. So I'm saying that a lot of it comes because of the fact that it's being promoted in a particular way. I think it's absolutely incumbent on the state to make sure that not just rule of law, but also amity is maintained within society. This is not a part of the world where the size of the state is particularly large. We don't have a size of police force per million that is the size that is required. The justice system's ability to be able to ensure that cases are tried, people are convicted, or that people who are innocent are let off quickly, is the record is quite poor. Given all this, it is absolutely incumbent on all political parties and all governments, including the one at the union, to make sure that such things are not pushed and emotions are kept in check. I agree with you. I think that what we can do as a first step is to make sure that the government doesn't push it itself. If you look at the sequence of events, the government spokeswoman says these things on TV. She goes unchecked. 5 days later, somebody from the BJP, a spokesman, tweets something similar. 5 days after that, 10 days after that, on a Sunday, the government quickly takes 3 actions. One is to distance itself from what was said. Secondly, to suspend one person and to let the other person go. And thirdly, to get the person who said it on television to withdraw her statement. Why did they wait 10 days? I'm saying that we should not wait for the external world to put pressure, knowing that these things can cause trouble. I accept that there is a balance to be maintained between free speech and the need to curb violence. But there are laws within the IPC that specifically mandate that such things should not be said, 153A and so on. Hate speech is recognized around the world as something that should be controlled. So the first step I would say is to make sure that we don't push it from the government itself. That would be a good start. I think that the history shows that once these things begin, it's difficult to control them. So once beef lynchings begin, there is a copycat pattern that happens across the country, and then it is believed, whether rightly or wrongly, that the state is supportive of such action. When you have ministers garland people, those who have been convicted of lynching, people will feel that this is something that is acceptable, and this is quite dangerous, and we should stay away from it. The story is in front of our eyes that you tend to stoke violence through hate speech, and then violence ensues, and we lose some of our reputation before the world. All of this could have been avoidable. We gained nothing from this. Free speech didn't become freer in India. Hatred within communities increased. A lot of the news cycle was wasted on things like this, where it could have been spent on things which were more productive. But that is the state of the country today.